to look at better ways to appreciate where we are today in our recovery. And yes, you may not be where you want to be. And at the end of the day, guys, I always tell people there is no end to our recovery, no expiration date on our recovery. So where you are today, as long as you have breath in your body, we can still make improvements. So I want you to learn how to congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back for the strides that you've made thus far. So instead of beating ourselves up to say, hey, that safari looks good and I can't wait till I get there. No, because in reality, we cannot wait till we get there. We appreciate that they're there, but I want you to use it in a more positive manner as to say, this is going to be so amazing that I can look at this stroke survivor and say, hey, they are making great strides. And when I get there, I'm going to be able to come back to the stroke survivor and say, hey, thank you for keep pushing. Thank you for encouraging me, because the whole time you may not know that somebody's watching you and your inspiration is somebody else. So, but that's what the community that we have as stroke survivors, you're definitely welcome. As stroke survivors, it's so beautiful because we're here to encourage others. We're here to lift you up. We're here to share our stories about things that we went through, the strides that we had to go through to make sure. And like I always say, I'm here to share with you to make sure I encourage you to not struggle the way that I did, not keep those things inside, like those dark days and not being able to talk to somebody. That's why the community is so important, because we are a like-minded group of individuals. And it's not to say that you don't have support with your family and your loved ones, but I always tell people there ain't nothing like being a stroke survivor. Nobody can relate to a stroke survivor other than a stroke survivor, honey. Christy said, my husband is 23 months out, previously in Ironman triathlon. It's very tough, Christy. So definitely I'm going to keep your husband in prayers. It's definitely tough indeed, because I mean, when you go to look back at those things, you say, hey, like you said, he was an Ironman triathlete. So he's probably beating himself up like, wait, I used to be able to do this, and that, and nothing held me back. And now he has to deal with the fact that he now has to rebuild his strength. And he went from being independent to now dependent on you. So I'm going to say two ways. God has our husband and wife, that the wife, you are a helpmate. So thank God that you are still standing there as his loved one and his caretaker to help him through this. So I'm thanking you for your husband, as that you step into that role to be his caretaker, his provider, and his lover at the same time. So for your husband, I want you to please make sure you keep him encouraged that yes, he may not be there today, but he will get there. And also have him look at, you said he's 23 months post, have them look at, hey, honey, remember the day that you were in the hospital that the stroke happened to you? You are much better today where you are now, 23 months than what you were. So because when we're in the hospital, guys, we can't look at 23 months out. We can't look at, I'm 6 years post. We can't look at 6 months out and say, hey, I'm going to get there. The frustration hits, say, wait. I was once independent. Now I'm paralyzed. Now I have to be a dependent. Like all of those things, we're flustered with all of these emotional ailments. We don't know what tomorrow looks like. And it's like, wait, so you want to, well, two things. You may have a doctor that's encouraging them. So many of us had the doctor that was less encouraging, to say that if we didn't get it back in 6 months to a year, then we're going to be stuck in that situation. But thankfully, I'm so glad that we are using our voice to put the word out there that is not true. There is no time frame on when we can heal our bodies. So that is one thing that you got to make sure when you're listening to other people, you take in the positive and you block out the negative, because we don't want negative energy. We don't want negative things to deter us and to put us in a hole or deeper in this situation as we're trying to heal. So all of those things play a part in our healing, guys. But there is no time frame at all when we can heal and how we heal, guys. So definitely today's topic is talking about giving yourself grace and understanding that it's a process in this whole matter. But as long as we have breath in our bodies, we can always make strides. Disengage from the timeline, because everybody heals at different levels. Everybody gets to different, so say for instance, people always say, hey, when does your hands start moving? When does your arms start? So I never give you a time frame, because I say, as long as you keep pushing, you will get there. And then I throw it back and say, hey, remember the day you had the stroke, that you were likely paralyzed, probably couldn't talk, eat, smell, do any of those things. And now you're able to do these things. So instead of comparison, instead of saying, hey, where I'm not there yet, say, you know what, I am much better now than I was then. So I want us to find more positive ways to approach this process, because as a stroke survivor, guys, this is a lifelong journey.